Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this narration of the web series 3 Fleets, taken from Reddit with the author's approval. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 4, Back from Market. The 3 rescued humans huddled together in the hold as Wex lifted off from the packed spaceport. No alarm had been raised over the missing shopkeeper in the Brown district. No one had stopped a folio towing 3 bedraggled humans to the port. The walk from the district to the port had been dull, boring, and everything Wex had hoped for. As the last fragments of the atmosphere fell away from the Ford screen, Wex turned to face his new passengers. He removed the giant helmet that served as a head of the folio disguise that he'd worn for 3 weeks, tracking the shop with humans. "My name is Wex," he said, pointing to himself. "Can you understand me?" The oldest rescued slave nodded once briskly. "Good." Wex stood up and began removing the rest of his folio disguise. The pudgy arms fell away, the bulbous belly dropped to the floor, and the legs crumbled to a heap. Under the animated costume was a tall, athletic man in soaked t-shirt and shorts. "They didn't make that suit for comfort. I must have lost 20 pounds in sweat." Wex scratched his head and then ran his fingers over his scalp. "How about some food?" Wex stepped forward, and the slaves, as they flinched away from him, Wex stopped short and then knelt down. "Sorry. I guess you've had it rough." Wex held out his hand with his palm up. The oldest former slave slowly reached out, and Wex had touched his hand. Wex smiled and nodded, hoping that he was showing friendship to a person who'd been through so much. Wex pointed to a cupboard above and behind the 3 rescued people, then slowly stood up and opened the cupboard. He removed 4 silver packages and 6 red cylinders. He took the whole and sat down cross-legged across the floor in front of the 3 rescues. Wex opened the first silver package and removed the still-fresh sandwich. He took a small bite, pretended that it was the most delicious thing that he'd ever eaten, and handed it to the first rescued human. She was a slight girl, with barely restrained hair and wide, wondering eyes. She sniffed at the sandwich Wex had given her. Wex opened the second silver package and repeated the exercise for the next rescue. An older man with a matted beard and too many scars across the back of his weathered hands. The third sandwich went to the final rescued slave, the thin boy who barely acknowledged it. Wex opened his own sandwich and began eating. The 3 others slowly copied him. 2 bites into his own sandwich, Wex picked up one of the red cylinders and pulled the tab atop it. The crisp hiss filled the small cabin and made the young girl jump. "Coke," Wex said. He took a sip and passed the can to the girl. She bent to smell it, but the tiny bubbles jumping out of the can speckled her nose, and she flinched back. Wex had a second can and was handing it to the old man, who stared at it like it was dredging up an ancient memory from an ocean's death. "Coke," the old man said. He drew the sound out as though he was taking it for a test drive. "Coke, no Pepsi." The old man smiled to himself and gulped down half the can in a single long draught. Wex handed the third can to the young boy, but got no more response than with the sandwich. The girl's eyes lit up when she had taken her first tentative sip. She took a second, a longer drink, and smiled. "Yeah, you guys look pretty young," Wex said. "Guess you were born off-world." "They were," the old man said. "I was taken." The girl had turned to the old man with fear in her eyes. Wex could see her hands trembling, holding up the soda and sandwich. "It's okay, Leela," the old man said to the girl. "We no longer need to live in fear." He turned to Wex and said, "Our owners would punish us for speaking without permission. Leela saw her mother beaten to death 3 years ago for that. She's been quiet ever since." Wex chewed in silence, letting the passengers take the lead. "I am Bao, and this is Milo. I've watched over these 2 for a while now," the old man said. "How did you find us?" "I am part of what is known as First Fleet. Earth fought back against the Turliak, and we won, eventually. We stole their technology and made our own ships. My job, my fleet's job, is to bring home any humans. This doesn't seem to be much of a warship, Bao said. I'm on detached duty. I heard a rumor of a merchant with 3 possible human slaves for sale. Took a shuttle and this fat-ass suit just to investigate. Neela tugged on Bao's threadbare shirt. She made a motion with her hands to fast for Wex to follow. Bao turned to look at Milo, who had set the sandwich and soda on the deck. Bao gently placed his hand on the back of Milo's head and patted softly. These children have never known freedom. They fear it as a kicked dog fears thunder. Wex looked at the 2 younger passengers. We've really just started rescuing our people. The fleet has a number of services that can help them, though. Neela looked wide-eyed between Wex and Bao. Milo rested his head on his knees, his back against the bulkhead. Wex asked, How much do they know? Bao cocked his head and said nothing. Wex continued, About humans. How much do they know about what they came from? Very little, Bao said, but not much. Our last master was a firm believer in cutting the past. Didn't want us to get any ideas. Well, Wex said, I'm not much of a teacher, but we'll be in the shuttle for a couple days. Maybe we can find something interesting. Wex spun a monitor around and tapped on the screen. He flipped through menus too quickly for Bao to follow. Milo had lifted his hand slightly when he caught the screen move from the corner of his eye. This is one of my dad's favorite movies. His grandfather would watch it with him over and over. So, of course, it became one of my favorite movies, too. He smuggled the portable player into our camp when I was little. We'd have a movie night when the guards weren't too anxious. I could still smell the wood chips on the floor, a little underground theater that he dug out. Wex paused as he found the name, lost in thought. I hate those bastards. They took our culture and our souls. Wex caught himself and glanced at his 3 passengers. Anyways, as he said that, he hit the play icon. On the screen, blue text flowed against a flat black background. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. End of chapter. Chapter 5. The low ridge in front of them seemed like a mountain. The extra gravity on this world pulled at them like an angry lover. Even with the augmented power suits holding them up, they could still feel the planet reaching into their guts, dragging them closer. Damn it, wheezed Novak. Yes, he wheezed. This place is gonna kill me. Tighten up, Novak, Gunny said. We've got at least 2 companies of hostiles over that ridge. They'll be waiting for us. Both sides had long ago expended their ammunition. They had gained and lost the advantage so many times. Nobody knew who was winning. The technology that they'd each brought from their homeworlds had fought as long as it could before it was consumed and exhausted. The fight continued on. Gunny, you really think those janks are waiting for us? PFC Java said. No clue. That's what I'd do. Dig in and sit tight. Let the other dumb bastards hump their ass through the crap while you rest up, Gunny said. They laid against the cool grass in the early morning light, struggling to breathe in the oppressive gravity and thick air. They'd long since given up hope of relief and now fought on because they knew nothing else. Crashed drones and emptied vehicles dotted the barren field around them. Spent casings and shattered glass crunched underfoot when they walked. Bodies of both sides littered the ground. You know the weirdest thing about this planet, Dabrowski said. I really don't, Dumbo, Novak said. Necks, not a damn thing here has any kind of neck, Dabrowski said. Necks, you haul your rear halfway to the fecking universe and get tripped up on necks, Novak asked. Spaceships are too much for Dumbo, O'Malley said, but the dumbass knows necks. A few of the Marines snorted and tried not to laugh. Man, Dabrowski said, it ain't that. Space is space. All looks the same. But you see a fat foot or 2, purple lizard with no neck. That's fecked up. 2 alien species at war on a planet foreign to both. Each side had crossed the endless void of space, flung themselves through the abyss by technology that would have been incomprehensible even 2 generations ago. despite all the technological marvels that had brought these two species together. War leveled the field. "Okay, we move in turn," Gunny said. "Why the hell are we doing this, Gunny?" Novak asked. "Because our mission is to liberate this planet, and Command, in their infinite wisdom, decided to send us to take this little patch of heaven." "No, Gunny, I mean, why are we fighting for these jerks? There's nothing on this planet worth crap. The Indigs are barely 3 feet tall and can't fight for crap. They can't even make a goddamn tank. Why are we out here dying for them?" Gunny's head dropped into a low-angled sunlight. "Son," Gunny said, in the softest any of the Marines had ever heard this mean bastard that led them. "When a bully beats you up and takes your lunch money, you can bear it. But when that bully picks on a cripple kid, you gotta stand tall, or you're just as bad as him. I know this is a crap deal. You want to leave, I won't stop you. Head on back to base camp. I'll even write you a recommendation to whatever service you want. But I'm staying. I'm going over this fucking hill and killing every goddamn jank that I see because I fucking hate bullies. I signed up for the 2nd Fleet to teach these jerks that you don't pick on crippled kids. You gotta decide for yourself if you will walk tall over this hill with me or sneak back to camp." "Hurrah, Gunny!" some of the Marines whispered from their rear of the formation. The fighting had become the most primitive of battles. Knives and rocks and teeth and claws. Both species could feel the ancient bloodlust, carefully stewed by billions of years of being the last survivor. Corpses of 2 apex predators' evolution never meant to meet filled the cave on the other side of the ridge. End of chapter. This is a special thank you to the one, the only, the legendary Eric Hino, who has become the only Tier 6 patron. I just want to thank the T5 patrons and channel members. Bob the Dragon, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholtz, Astrea the Dreamer, Tryagain95, Fudic Yol, Meridian117, Alithia, Jordan Bucksborn, Angry Marine, Albarden Gusta, and Barkey. Thank you very much. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed. There are links down below, both to support this channel and for the author of this fiction. Anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic one, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.